Alien alert. Piece of cake. Let's get this over with. Tough guy. going up. Let's get this over with. This could use some fixing up. Alien alert. What? Woohoo! Concentrate. Woohoo! Nowhere to go but up. Hey, Tobias, lend me your wings. Crystals.
Who am I?
hardly recognize this place. Alien alert. Woohoo! Piece of cake. Ugh. It's a jungle in here. Somebody overdid the fertilizer. Okay, think hopscotch. Not the 7-foot razor blade. I made it. Ugh. 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 Piece of cake. Ugh. Looks like Rat Central Station. It's all in the jump. Ow! Ugh.